We have a new quarterbacks coach. I'm going to be breaking it all down in a bonus Saturday edition of Locked On Seahawks.
You are Locked On Seahawks, your daily Seattle Seahawks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, 12. This is Corbin Smith, host of the Locked On Seahawks podcast, your daily Seahawks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Happy Saturday to all the 12s out there. And thank you, as always, for making Locked On Seahawks your first listen 5 days a week. We greatly appreciate it. The Seahawks making some more coaching waves today. On the weekend, bringing in a new quarterback coach for Geno Smith and potentially an incoming rookie quarterback as well. Charles London joining the staff, another experienced, versatile coach with a diverse background. Before I dive in, this bonus episode is brought your way by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level, whether that's the 2024 Nissan Rogue, which is perfect for city drives and great escapes, and it offers Google Assistant, Google Maps, Google Play Store right on the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. It's the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure, or maybe the 2024 Nissan Armada that'll change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that has an 8-seat first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. The Seahawks officially have a new quarterback coach, Charles London, 48-year-old, longtime assistant both in the NFL and college ranks. And this really continues the trend that we have seen with Mike Macdonald throughout this hiring process. It seems like nearly every coach that he has hired so far as an assistant, even his first-time offensive and defensive coordinators, Ryan Grubb and Adin Durde, both of those guys have coached numerous position groups and taken interesting paths to the NFL. So he has been looking for diverse coaches, even if they don't have NFL experience. He's been looking for coaches that have coached multiple positions. They've been offensive or defensive quality control coaches. They've been pass game coordinators. He's looking for coaches that have a background beyond simply coaching the position they are being hired for. And the same can be said for Charles London, who is actually a running back by trade. He played running back at Duke University for the Blue Devils, and immediately after his playing career ended, jumped into coaching with the Blue Devils. He was a graduate assistant. Then only 3 years later, the Chicago Bears brought him in on Lovie Smith's staff as an offensive quality control coach. He held that role for 3 years. Then he took a year away from coaching, was actually a scout with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2010 before returning to the coaching ranks in the NFL, was with the Titans as an offensive assistant. Then he learned under Bill O'Brien at Penn State and Houston. He jumped to the NFL with O'Brien and his staff, was the Texans running back coach for 4 seasons, returned to Chicago for 3 years as the running back coach. And that's where we see the real diversity here. The last 3 years, Charles London has been a quarterback coach for the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans. And what piqued my interest with those two teams jumping out, they had very similar quarterback situations. He jumped into a situation where he was coaching an aging veteran. In Atlanta, it was Matt Ryan, who was not the same player that he was when he was an MVP candidate 4 or 5 years earlier. He was near the end of his career, and he had a rookie in Desmond Ridder who he was able to get some action by the end of that season, and then Ridder started most of his last year for the Falcons. Obviously, London was none of the staff this year to work with him, but he's worked with veterans and he's worked with rookie quarterbacks. That trend continued this year in Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill being the starter at the beginning of the season, and then eventually Will Levis became the starter as a rookie out of Kentucky. And Levis threw 8 touchdown passes in 9 games, not the flashiest line out there. And he had some games he struggled, but he also had a couple really good games, including his debut with 3 touchdowns to DeAndre Hopkins. And so you saw flashes. And I think that bodes well for what we're going to see here, not just in 2024, but potentially beyond with Charles London as the quarterback coach. And this is a guy that has already been linked as by Peter King and a couple other people out there as a potential budding offensive coordinator in wait. So this could be a quick stay. He might not be here very long if he has success with Geno Smith and/or an incoming rookie quarterback, but he has the experience in the last couple of years where he has worked with established veterans and had some success with them. And he's also been able to take rookie quarterbacks and find some success, with those guys in their first action as NFL quarterbacks. And so from Seattle's standpoint, you are bringing in a guy who has a great football mind. I can already tell you, already doing some research, looking at some of the stuff that he has done. He's got the offensive quality control coach background. He's been a pass game coordinator this past year in Tennessee. So he's got some involvement in the game planning aspect and being able to attack opposing defenses. And clearly he has coached a number of position groups with the running back background the last 3 years with quarterbacks. And I think the job he's done with the rookie QBs has been pretty darn good. So this is a nice hire for the Seahawks from the perspective that you can have Geno Smith as your starter this year. You can maybe draft a quarterback, whether it's a first rounder, mid rounder, whatever. You can have that quarterback learn from somebody that now has a decent track record showing that he has had some success with young quarterbacks in their first action. He hasn't been able to see it through with him bouncing around a little bit. Tennessee changed coaching staffs, but this is a guy who has been on the radar for other teams. He's coached multiple positions. And he's been involved as a passing game coordinator. He's done the quality control stuff. He checks off all the boxes. Again, this seems to be the big theme for Mike Macdonald. I want coaches who are going to bring versatility on the offensive and defensive side of the football. And this guy, for only being 48, has got a lot of experience. He's clearly coached a lot in the NFL, multiple positions. He's been around for more than a decade in the league. He's also got that college coaching background as well. So he's really a versatile coach, and that seems to be what Mike Macdonald is looking for. Now you pair him with Ryan Grubb, who's got an offensive line, running back, quarterback. He's been a receiver coach where he's coached everything. He's your offensive coordinator. You've got a running back coach in Kennedy Palomalu, who most of his NFL time has been a running back coach, but he was a special teams coordinator at one point. So he has coached other things away from the running back position. And at receiver, Frisman Jackson has been a receiver coach in general, but he's also got some pass game coordinator experience previously at the college level. So you've got a versatile coaching staff. It's a unique blend of first-time coaches in the NFL and experienced coaches like Charles London, who have been around in the league for a while. And so I think this is another really good hire. I like the fit where the Seahawks are at right now at the quarterback position. So I'm curious to see how this plays out in terms of what the depth chart looks like once we get to May, early June. Are they going to draft a QB early? Is Drew Lock going to be coming back? Everything Ryan Grubb and Mike Macdonald have indicated so far suggests they'd like to keep this quarterback room together the way it's been the last few years. I don't know financially that's going to be doable. Drew Lock may have a better opportunity elsewhere, but no matter how it shakes out, you are bringing in a coach who has been in the league a long time, and now the last 3 years, he's coached quarterbacks at very different stages of their career, and he's had some success with all of them. And yes, the Falcons and Titans didn't have great offenses by any means, but there were injuries. They didn't necessarily have the talent that the Seahawks have on that side of the football either. And so this is a really good football mind in Charles London that I'm really interested to see him pair with Geno Smith. And maybe you bring in a Michael Penix or a J.J. McCarthy or Spencer Rattler, whoever they want to bring in the draft. You bring in a quarterback in this rookie class, and you really let Charles London go to work with them and maybe hope that they don't see the field this year. Geno Smith is going to be your starter. You might have Drew Lock there too. You could have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Either way, you have a coach here who has a nice track record, who has coached for some really good programs at the college level. He's worked for a lot of really good coaches in the NFL level. He's been around Lovie Smith. He's been around Bill O'Brien recently, Mike Vrabel year before that, 2 years before that, Dan Quinn. So he's been around a lot of different coaches from different coaching trees. And I think that bodes well for him in what could be that next stepping stone towards becoming an offensive coordinator himself. As always, you can follow me on X and Threads at Corbin Smith NFL. Make sure to subscribe and follow Locked On Seahawks on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast to make sure you don't miss a single episode. We'll be back on Monday, Mock Draft Monday, taking a look at who the latest picks are for the Seahawks at number 16, maybe even diving into some second and third round picks in some extended mock drafts as well. Thanks for listening and enjoy your weekend. Go Hawks.